When it comes to commitment for ultrasound excellence, ZONARE Medical Systems' software-based next-generation technology has emerged as a significant powerhouse within the field of imaging. Widely known amongst the healthcare community is the trade-off between size of the system versus the quality of the image produced. ZONARE has revolutionized the industry with a premium package delivering superior image quality alongside portability. We sit with newly appointed President and CEO Jay Miller to discuss why he feels ZONARE is changing the way people think about ultrasound. The vein industry in the last 10 years it's just boomed within the United States. And I wanted to ask you, specifically speaking, when you talk about vein specialists, the value ZONARE adds as a company to these specialists within the community.
ZONARE and the whole diagnostic and therapy vein community has gotten closer, and I think the reason is it's almost perfectly suited for our technology. It's so easy because of the portability of the product to do good vein work, whether it's diagnostic or therapeutic. You've got to have great images, and so we offer great images in a very portable capability that's really easy to use. So it's a perfect match. I mean, and I think that's why we've been so strong in the area. That, and as time has gone on, we've gotten really close to our customers that are doing vein imaging and vein therapy, and they've given us great feedback. We are very customer-centric. They've helped us develop the product immensely.
You've had some positions with some pretty big players, so talk about your past, your present, and what do you think your future, where it's going with the company.
I was chemistry undergrad at Dartmouth, and then I went to the University of Virginia, studied biomedical engineering, did my master's thesis in biomedical engineering and MRI specifically on one of the first Siemens scanners that they shipped to the US. It was the very early days of the MRI days. Worked for Siemens for a summer as an intern, writing code. So I was a software engineer for Siemens on their MR scanner. Finished my master's thesis basically writing code that eventually went into one of the Siemens scanners. And then they hired me as a marketing guy, so that was the end of my engineering career. I spent about 3 years with Siemens, running around the country telling people about MRI. 3 years into that job, GE offered me a job back in my hometown, so I moved back. I moved from New York City back to Milwaukee, where I grew up, and worked for GE for 8 years. And I had basically 8 jobs in 8 years for GE. It was great, a terrific experience, both at Siemens and at GE. Loved the experience of both companies. GE put me through business school, so I got my MBA at Northwestern while I was there. But I was an upstream and downstream marketing guy for GE. Upstream being working with the engineers to define the product, mostly MRI, and then downstream working with the salespeople to market and sell the product. And then after 8 years with GE, a little company in Minneapolis offered me a job as their vice president of corporate development. And just about that time, the MR business had gotten pretty mature. So I went to Vital Images, this company in Minneapolis, and they had what we call now an advanced visualization capability. Back then we just called it 3D. For 11 years. The first year I was there, we did about 1.4 million in revenue. The last year I was there, we did 70 million in revenue. We went from roughly 20 employees to about 330. When I started, we had an office in Fairfield, Iowa, and an office in Minneapolis, and a couple of salespeople. When I left, we had an office in Minneapolis, we had an office in the Netherlands, in The Hague, and then we had an office in Beijing. So we were definitely a global business. You know, the market cap, the bottom was probably about $10 million, and at the peak was about $500 million. So it was a great business, grew a lot of fun, had a great time.
The evolution of a CEO, I mean, you're positioned exactly where you need to be in your career.
Exactly. And the thing that got me interested in this business was kind of 3 things. One is I thought the technology was groundbreaking. The technology is very unique. As we know, it's really next generation technology. It's going to change the way people think about ultrasound, and it is changing the way people think about ultrasound. That was number 1. The second thing I liked is the company has a lot of happy customers. And we've got, pushing 4,000 systems out there, and we've got a lot of happy customers, which is great. The thing I couldn't really do diligence on before I got here is just how great the people are. So the 3 things that I really liked about the company: great technology, happy customers, and really good, hardworking, dedicated people. At the end of the day, that's all a CEO can ask for. Sure. We've got challenges, and as we grow, and we will continue to grow pretty rapidly, as we grow, we will have more and more challenges going forward because we want to obviously gain market share and grow the profitability of the business, etc. But most importantly, all of us here want to change the way people think and do ultrasound. It's not like we're making nuclear warheads here. We're making ultrasound technology that's helping doctors help patients that are sick or injured. That's really what drives us at the end of the day.
Let's discuss short-term, long-term goals.
The great thing about the business now with healthcare reform and a lot of pressure on healthcare dollars globally is being in the ultrasound business is perfect. Now, I'm an old MRI guy, and I talked about being a CT guy, but I'll tell you, I'd much rather be in the ultrasound space than in MRI and CT. And the reasons being very simple. If doctors can do diagnostic imaging with ultrasound. Now, people present with all kinds of problems, and they've got to diagnose those problems, and they've got to do it very quickly. And we know over the past, almost 100 years that medical imaging makes a big difference in helping doctors quickly make a diagnosis. And if they can use the right type of medical imaging to make a diagnosis quickly, that's the most cost-effective way of helping the patient. The great thing about ultrasound is it's easy, it's relatively cheap, and it's completely harmless. If a doctor can use ultrasound to do diagnostic imaging to figure out where the patient's problem is, they'll always use ultrasound. Now, there are some cases when CT is better, but CT is more expensive and it uses x-rays. Sometimes MRI is better, but MRI is significantly more expensive as well. Near term, the business is growing rapidly. The ultrasound market, which is roughly about a $5 billion global market, is relatively flat. You could argue maybe this year it's up a little bit, in parts of the world down a little bit, but let's say it's relatively flat. This business this year will grow somewhere in the range of 25–30%, which is exciting in a flat market. Going forward over the next few years, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be able to grow 20+% per year for the foreseeable future. The business is getting bigger, but in terms of the global market, we're still pretty small. And our goal is to continue to grow the business, continue to grow market share, and most importantly, continue to get this groundbreaking, really cool technology out into the market so that doctors can help patients.
Well, let's talk about those doctors. How do you actually communicate with these doctors? How do you communicate your brand to them, and what is the follow-up?
It's a challenge for a small company because, again, we're competing with General Electric and GE and Siemens, Philips. I mean, these are big companies. So for us to get any airtime, we've got to fight our way into this. I've been through that. At Vital Images, we had the same thing. We were competing with the same kind of company. So there are definitely ways of doing it. We'll spend more and more money on marketing. We'll spend more and more money on sales and customer support and product development.
The customer support aspect of it is making sure that industry connects with their customers. That seems to be a pretty important pillar.
It really is. And one of the great things about this business is it's part of the ingrained culture of this business. This is an incredibly, and this is way before I got here, this is an incredibly customer-centric culture. I told the employees when I first got here that we were going to put employees and customers first. The most important constituents, the most important stakeholders we have are our customers and our employees, and they will always be first. Now, it's not a big surprise around here that we're going to put customers first because they always have. Very customer-responsive culture, which is terrific.
Now, coming into a company like this and embracing the mission of ZONARE, what would you like to communicate as far as the mission and the vision of it?
We talk a lot about being committed to ultrasound excellence. We are just an ultrasound company, and we do that by using software-based, groundbreaking, next-generation technology that's unique. And by putting, as I mentioned before, by putting customers and employees first. Those are really the three big things. So committed to ultrasound. We don't do MRI, we don't do CT, we don't do nuclear, we don't do X-ray, we don't sell light bulbs, we don't do any of that stuff. We just do ultrasound, and we're committed to ultrasound excellence. We've got unique technology that no one else has got. The rest of the world still uses older generation beamformer technology, which was fantastic technology for a long time. The problem was, in order to get high quality performance, in order to get really high quality images, you had to do it in a big box, a big, expensive, heavy, hard to push around, not very portable box that can weigh over 400 pounds. Now we can get incredible images using our unique technology, which we've got great patent protection around. We can get great images in a much smaller footprint, in a much more portable capability. They can plug into any wall, you can move around very easily at basically 1/3 or less the size, and it's because of the technology that Glenn McLaughlin and the team around here has developed over the years.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is amazing, and the fact is the rest of the market's got to do what we do going forward, because The market is tired of having to make the trade-off between image quality and size. If they want a smaller size, they've got to give up image quality. If they want bigger image quality, they've got to have a bigger size. Well, we don't force them to make that trade-off anymore. Now they can get premium image quality and do it in a much more portable, much more convenient package and a lot more easily. So that's the word that we've got to get out.
There are so many layers to why this brand is successful. There's got to be strategy behind everything.
Right. That's exactly right.
Mr. Miller, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.